Hi, everyone. Okay, well, it looks like it's mostly good. Yeah, right? Good? Okay, hello. Rotary Club in Indiana. I would love to speak. Well, what would you like? Do you mean you would want me to speak on Ukraine and history of Ukraine or events in Ukraine? I mean, it really wouldn't take much. I would just have to have a flight and accommodation because I unfortunately right now can't really afford to travel freely. But that's about it. But yeah. Oh, hi, Andy. Hi, Andy. Hi, James. Hi, Lauren. Hi, Veronica. Hi, Juju. Educate our rank and file about Ukraine, its history, and everything going on. Yeah, I mean, I would love to do that. It really wouldn't take much. I just would need a flight and accommodation because, again, I don't think I can necessarily afford to travel right now, given that I just came back from a birthday trip and um, and have had quite a few expenses. But other than that, nothing really. I would love to come and speak on Ukraine. Hi, Jen. Hi, Crazy Cat. Yes, Russian army has been fleeing from Ukraine. Thank you, Paul. That's really awesome. I would love to do that. I think that's a great idea. I'd be honored. So yeah. So yes. Oh, lost connection. Why? Weird. Okay, what was I talking about? So Russian army bases keep being blown up, and Russian army keeps denying that Ukraine does it because they would rather admit to being incompetent than admit to Ukraine taking out a Russian base, which is kind of funny. Oh, what's happening? Let me see. Hi, Juju. Hi, Juju on YouTube. Let me see because TikTok seems to be having a glitch with connection. Yeah, I know. It seems like that's weird. That is so very weird. Try switching between Wi-Fi and data. Okay, well, let me see. So we are having a little bit of technical difficulties over on TikTok. So let me see if I can fix that. For some reason, neither Wi-Fi nor data is working. So let me end it and reload it. I will end it and reload it. Yeah. Yeah. Hi, Ryan. Let me see. Oh gosh. Okay, let me do this again because it does look like it's being very glitchy. Yeah, TikTok was really awful. Yeah, Jen, if you can make Ryan a mod there, that'd be perfect. I don't think I can because this software doesn't necessarily let me do anything. Okay. Hi, Lauren. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back. Hi, Marvin. Hi, Juju. Yeah, for some reason, neither Wi-Fi nor data were working. And I just figured that, and I switched between both. So I figured, hi, Veronica. So I figured I would just I would just reload it and see if that works. Mucho más more better. Okay, awesome. Hi, audio producer. Frozen again. Oh my God. No. Yeah, I don't know what's up. I don't know what's up. That's so weird. What if I... Oh, okay. No? Oh, I see. Yeah, luck still having issues. You keep deleting creators' accounts. Yeah, they do. A little frozen again sometimes. Well, let's see. If it keeps being frozen for more than like 5 minutes, then I might try to just close the app, put it in some rice. And no, I don't know anything about firewalls, and I don't know anything about how to operate all things tech/internet unless it's iOS apps that I design. Keeps freezing a little bit. Well, let's see if it's gonna continuously get worse. Then I will just reload it, put my phone in some rice. Hi, Chris. Good to see you. Hi, everybody. Did you find that song? Which song? The song. Which song? Sneezed and hurt my shoulder. Oh my gosh, Sky. Don't have that power. Squirrel. Well, if Squirrel is on TikTok, and well, let me text Squirrel. Squirrel has to do it. I don't have that power. That's so funny. What happened to your phone? What do you mean? Nothing happened to my phone. See, yeah, no hours. Thank you, Veronica. I am on cellular, but I tried Wi-Fi, and Wi-Fi wasn't for some reason. Wi-Fi wasn't doing well at all. One of Russia's new ninja robot dogs from Wish. Oh my gosh, I saw that. That was so funny. I don't understand that robot dog seems padded. Like that Russian robot dog seems padded. And it's funny because those robot dogs look like they have like a little coating on top of the metal, and I was wondering why would you do that, because it looks so flammable. Yeah, Juju, I'll tag the shirt. It looks so incredibly flammable. I don't know why it would be. I need a Ukrainian flag for my avatar. Yeah, that would be nice. Ukrainian flags as avatars are really sweet. Hi, Nazar. But yeah, so I was looking at this, so I don't know if you know, but like on Army 2022, China and Russia have unveiled a new robot dog. And it's a dog that's capable of shooting like missiles, like tiny missiles. And it's funny because that dog literally has like a flammable coating on top of it, on top of the metal. And I was just wondering, why would they do that? Because that seems so counterproductive. Because, hi, Kay. Because if you're on the battlefield and you're shooting at someone, a good guess is they're shooting back. They're online for 4K euros. Oh my God. I feel like you could get a non-commercial drone for more than that, for more than 4K euros. Jesus Christ. But so yeah, so the robot dogs seem to me like a little bit of a design flaw in that way, because if the dog is shooting at someone, good guess is someone is shooting back at the dog. So yeah. And it's flammable, so it's just kind of counterproductive. But Russia was never known for its advanced capabilities in thinking per se. So it's not uncanny to me that they would make a flammable flamethrower. If you have lots of bars in cellular, then you may be being targeted for a DOS attack. Huh. Well, I have, hi, Tippy Turtle. I have 3 service bars out of 4. Hi, Malcontent. The dog can't even carry more than 4.8 kg. Yeah, it just seems okay. First of all, didn't the United States present something like that in like 2007? Didn't we have like robot dogs in 2007? This is not necessarily like a technological advancement of some crazy kind. I don't think that this is super. I don't think that this is super groundbreaking. Also, in completely some weird comments today, yeah, in a completely unrelated news, but I figured I'd share. I had a dream today that I was on a cruise. Thank you, Kay. Or rather, not like, so it was like some futuristic world that I was living in, and we were in like an aqua park or like a hotel. I don't know. It was like a vacation sort of environment in a futuristic world. Thank you, Kay. And yeah, it was like a futuristic kind of vacation-y environment. And there was a pool where you could bring your dogs. And so I came in with Cinny, and Cinny was trying to swim, but she didn't know how to swim. So she completely dunked underneath the water. And then I had to like carry Cinny out, and the pool was a little too deep. So I like couldn't figure out how to help her because I couldn't. Hi, Mariana. Hi, Dakota. Because I couldn't like reach the bottom of the pool. So, it was like it was a very strange dream. Cindy was learning how to swim. There was a golden retriever that from my friends, which like, I forgot half the dream already, but like those were the people that I actually know in real life. And they were like a couple, but they're not a couple in real life, nor do they know each other. And they also had like different like features. So weirdly, one of those people was Charlie. I need to like text Charlie and tell him this, but Charlie, as in Charles McBride, as in like the creator who went to Ukraine, and was helping with like medication supplies to Kharkiv and medication supplies to Kharkiv. And so he was one of the people who was with me on this like pseudo cruise / vacation environment. And he had a golden retriever, which I mean, to be fair, maybe that would be a dog for Charlie. And I had Cinny, and the golden retriever was swimming and Cinny was not. And Cinny was not doing very well in terms of learning how to swim. She just kept like tipping over with her front part because it's much heavier than her back part. And it was just very comical yet very upsetting. But yeah, Cinny was learning how to swim. Also, the funny thing is that like Cinny, last time I put Cinny in a pool, once her butt got dipped in the water, she freaked out and literally scratched me like so much that I can't even imagine Cinny actually learning how to swim. Well, John said that he would teach her how to swim. How do I am Slava? And I was like, yeah, good luck with that. I don't know that's gonna happen, but I don't know if that's gonna happen, but good luck with that. You think that robot dog can go against the Ukraine Pigeon Brigade, Veronica says on YouTube. I think that, nothing can go against Ukraine Pigeon Brigade. Cindy has poor buoyancy. Cindy, do you have poor buoyancy? Cindy? Yeah, Cindy is not going to be a champion swimmer, but speaking of Cindy, let me bring over Cindy. Cindy is like waking up slowly. I also just realized that I was making myself coffee, and I just left it here, so I need to grab my milk for my coffee. But one sec. Also, gosh, why do I keep getting like? I got a call from prison today. Just FYI, I got a call from Texas prison today, and I never pick up random numbers because I know they're telemarketers unless I'm waiting for a call. But also I write down numbers, like most of them, even like the random, I don't know, like Con Edison and stuff. And so it kept calling and calling and calling and calling. And Vasily goes like, why don't you just pick it up? And I'm like, dude, it's probably telemarketers. And he's like, what if I was lost and I was trying to call you and you weren't picking up? I'm like, then you message me. But anyways, it was from Texas. I pick up the call and it's like, call from inmate. I don't know, then it was blank because they didn't record their name. If you'd like to accept. And they called me like 7 times. I'm like, dude, you have a wrong number. Okay. You have a wrong number. 1 sec. Senior, what's up, baby? Oh, hello. Hello, my poor buoyancy thing. Hello. Who has poor buoyancy? You do? She's too dense. Cindy, you were just called fat by James. James just fat shamed you. He said you were too dense. Because it might be me. Come on, friend. It was from Texas, Nazar. What would you be doing in Texas? Sini. Okay, Sini, first of all, I would like to let you know. James just said that you're too dense to be able to swim, which is effectively fat shaming you, okay? Sini, you were being fat shamed. Did you know that? Sini is a girl. Sini is a lady. Okay. Oh. Yuba. Yuba. He swam like a rock. Fat floats, muscle sinks. Oh. Sina, do you want a treat? Do you want a treat? Sin, do you want a treat? Okay. Wait. Sina, sit. Hey, sit down. Sit. Okay. Sin. Yes, I'm grabbing your treat. Yes. I'm grabbing you a treat, Sin. Okay, look, Cindy, you better make me proud. I'm going to put this on the table, and I'm going to go grab milk. And you are going to wait. Wait. Cindy, how is this the only time that you literally don't care? The only time. You're being so good. Cindy, you're being very good, but you're providing no entertainment. Because normally, you care. Look, this is yours, but you gotta wait. The one time that you're being good, okay, here. Okay. Good girl. Take the treat and run. Okay, because you were so good, well, actually, I'm going to give you a different one. This one's bigger. And this one smells more. This one's bigger and it smells more. Yeah. Wait. 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 Okay. Do we keep increasing the value of these treats? Because I also have like beef lung, and I feel like that's not gonna go over as easy as all of this did. Senior. Let's see. Wait. Sin, do you want it? Okay, I'm gonna walk away. I'll be back in a second, Cindy. Just in a second. You're gonna be good, right? Oh my god, such a good girl, okay? Good pup. Good pup. Good pup. Okay, say bye, good pup. Good pup. Good pup, Cindy. Okay, one sec. I'm gonna bring something to clean up that space because it now smells like salmon. And it's gonna bother me while I sit there. Cindy did well. I'm proud of Cindy. You did so well, little bunchkin. Oh, wow. What is even happening here? One sec. Ah, there we go. Okay. I don't know if all the treats will help her buoyancy. I love that. That's hilarious. Well, to be fair, okay, so Cindy normally has no impulse control, but she's kind of asleep still, I think. That's why it worked. Also, I got my mug again because, so Vasil, the other day, broke this mug. And not only do I love this mug because dog lover, but also I love this mug because it's gigantic. And it's back. Look at him. Look at him. What do you have to say for yourself? What do you have to say for yourself? Hello. Hello is what you have to say for yourself? But also, to be fair, this is like the biggest mug ever. Literally. Look at this mug weight. It's like the size of my face.
Oh, I broke this. Okay.
I don't give Cindy puppuccino. I don't give Cindy like a lot of I don't give Cindy like people food. Actually, dairy is not good for dogs. So while the concept of puppuccino sounds like super sweet, it's actually not good like for your dog. So I don't give it to Cindy. Doodle mug, yeah, and I got this espresso cup for my mom because you guys know that my mom loves espresso. It was supposed to arrive here while she was still here, but obviously it did not. So it's this. And it says Frenchie. Little espresso mug. Yeah, and it's Frenchie on both sides. So I'm gonna send it to my mom somehow, or I'll bring it to her. Right? It's this very cute store. It's Pet Shop by French Studio. And they have a lot of doggy stuff. Like they have doggy beds, they have doggy bowls. They have some really cute stuff, to be honest. And and actually, let me show you, because I have Cindy's bowl and one mug that I have are the same. And they're also from that store. I like absolutely love this pet shop situation. But so, Anastasia bought this for Cindy. Like, I had this, and then we were at a store and they had this. So it's Cindy's, this is Cindy's water bowl. And this is like the same company. They have a lot of really cute stuff. So yeah. So if you want to matchy with your dog. Какая у тебя собака? У меня французский бульдог. Also, like, if you are Russian and you're speaking Russian, then that's fine. If you are a foreigner and you're translating something for me into Russian, then that's not necessarily fine because I'm not Russian. And I know that it might be done as a courtesy or as like something sweet, but I'm Ukrainian. And if you'd like to speak to me in my language, that would be translating it into Ukrainian. So Russian's not my language. I'm not from Russia. And speaking to me in Russian is not a courtesy. Hi, Luann. It's in fact perpetuation of Russian colonialism, which I don't appreciate. So, alrighty, we are about 30 minutes in, so we should be good to go for the city. Hey, no, Cindy, no, Sid. How's your mom today? Lovely dresses. Which All Saints dress? All Saints dress? I don't think my mom and I wore All Saints dresses during the entire time. But speaking of All Saints, it is one of my favorite brands, and they always have a really good end of season sale, which is currently going on. It's -60 and then -10 on top of the -60, and I think they're gonna get to -15 on top of the -60. So yeah, if you like the brand and you want to shop there right now, there is a lot of really good prices. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, my dad put that on me. I got it last year on a sale, but I had to ship it. Like, it was only available at All Saints England, so I shipped it to my friend Alex, who then shipped it to me. Yeah, Sydney says good morning. No, I did not find Ukraine's We Will Rock You. I don't know how to call it. Hi, Paul. Thank you so much. Thank you so very much. Hello. Tata Fashion. Yeah, we should bring Tata Fashion back. I feel like it's going to be good for fall. Wait. Okay, so let's find a song to play, which is a Ukrainian song. Wait. Let's find a Ukrainian song to play, and we are gonna start on the news for today. Okay. It's today's a bit of a slower day. Also, I apologize for being on earlier. I have a lawyer call later today, so I can't do it at 2. I had to do it earlier. Mm. Mm. But червона калина, we know. Yeah, send it to you. Send it to me. Thank you. This is like a very old school style of songs. This is from like the same, you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of like early Natalia Mohalevska. Vraja, yeah. Thank you, Karine. Hi. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Paul. This one's called Nazlamna. It's in the playlist. Did you find that Russian state show episode about Trump? Well, I can't find it. 1 second. So basically, I was looking for, well, let me get to it, James. I will get to it. I have 2 things to say before we started the news, actually, that I forgot about. So let's get into this. So I posted a video where apparently on, hi, Javita, Yevita or Javita. Please tell me how to properly pronounce your name because I don't want to be not courteous. But I think it's Jovita. Yovita. Okay. Well, okay, Yovita. That's a pretty name. So yeah. So basically, yesterday I posted a video about Trump because on the air of Russian Solovyov program, who's the main propagandist, yesterday they said that they were worried about their quote agent Trump. So Russia had called Trump their agent on their main news channel, well, their main propaganda show, right? So here's the thing. Obviously, Russia, there are a lot of reasons why Russia could have done that. Russia could have done that, A, to steer discord within the United States between Democrats and Republicans, because Democrats would be like, oh my gosh, he's the agent of Kremlin. Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. Like joyous. So basically they could have done that for a couple of like a plethora of reasons, honestly. Some of the most plausible reasons are A, to cause discord within the United States so Democrats and Republicans get into a fight again, distracting from the war in Ukraine. 2, they could have said that because we don't know what it is that the FBI found at Mar-a-Lago, and they could be saying it to either screw him even more, to cover up for something, or they could be saying it so we go, well, if it was true, they wouldn't say it on national TV, right? Because again, we don't know what it is that they found at Mar-a-Lago. Like, we don't know the extent of what they found. So basically, Yeah, according to Fox News, Russia has seen the copies of those documents, but that's the thing, that if they're saying, oh, our agent Trump, they're either saying it to screw him further or saying it to distract our attention. Because, well, if that was true, then of course they wouldn't say it on the air, right? Like, they're not that stupid. But here is the one thing that is true, is that Russia never, ever, ever says anything just because. There is always a motive behind it. So now time will tell what was the motive behind saying that. So that's that. So James asked me if I found the Russian State Show episode about Trump. I was trying to find that yesterday, and I couldn't, because, well, so it's not uploaded to YouTube yet, I don't think, and I can't watch it. Like, I can't watch Russian propaganda show from the US. It's just blocked. Thank you, Karine. So I will be monitoring it closely. Then Mr. Wonderful, who believes Russia? No one believes Russia. I know that you love Trump. We are aware of that. You went and commented vote red on a video that's unrelated to that at all. Well, actually, on a video where I was talking about well, actually, on a video that I was talking about crashing the American economy because the Red Party had denied abortions to women in multiple states. And you went and commented, vote red. Read the room, okay? First of all, second of all, you were talking about the crashed economy. Were you aware that Trump took the country with a $500 billion deficit, and he left the presidential seat with a $4 trillion deficit? So if you were talking about the economy and how it's better to not crash the economy and you said vote red, it's not going to be helpful in any way, because Trump and Republicans who are under him, which are the same people who are there right now, literally do not know what to do with the budget. Now, I'm not a fan of Biden, but if you look at the current deficit, it's 1 trillion. So Trump took it at 500 billion and brought it to 4 trillion. It's public record if you don't believe me. So now the deficit is less. So for anyone who's like, oh my gosh, the Democrats don't know what they're doing with the money. Like, for anyone that uses budget and deficit as like a, oh, Republicans are so much better at this. Look at the numbers. Here's the thing, I'm not even saying this because I'm a Democrat, but it's just like blatant lies. It's blatant lies and blatant misinformation. And as I said before, I'm not going to allow any misinformation on my channel. Whether it be about Democrats or Republicans. Well, we need a lot of things, but unfortunately right now we have what we have and we have to choose between the two. And if you look at it, the track record of the Democratic Party is much better. I come from a country where we don't have Democrats or Republicans. We have a multiple party system. And I think that multiple party system works much better. But at the same time, like, between what we have and between what we want and what is possible, the things that are possible are to choose between Democrats and Republicans. And there is a clear one that's much less of a shit show. Anyways. Okay, so another thing that I wanted to bring up is the other day I was talking about Kuban, and I said something as a part of a much larger dialogue, or as a part of a much larger monologue, as a part of a much larger explanation. And the quote was, unfortunately, if you want to be a part of Ukraine, you should just move to Ukraine. So I'm going to elaborate on it because one of my moderators, Theo, had DM'd me telling me that it's not kind of right to say that to Kuban people because it might come out to them as if I'm denying their Ukrainianness. So here is a little bit of a better elaboration. There is a movement in Kuban which the leadership of the movement wants Kuban to be independent. Now, a lot of the people in Kuban who are Ukrainian do not, well, I don't know if they want to be independent, but what they do want is they want to be a part of Ukraine legally. As in, like, they want Kuban to return to Ukraine as a territory. And that's something that they are fighting for, and that's something that they want. That's something that they want eventually to happen. That's something that they are hoping will happen. And with the war right now, it looks to them like a possibility. While I understand that the leadership of the movement is not trying to bring Kuban into the current territory of Ukraine, and I understand that, here's the thing. People in Kuban are not any less Ukrainian than I am just because Russia drew the border so that Kuban became a part of Russia. I fully understand that. That's very unfortunate, and we're all in this crap because of Russia, obviously. However, the modern borders of Ukraine are the modern borders of Ukraine, whether Russia drew them or whether Russia didn't. Ukraine does not have enough budget to have another territory attached to it. Ukraine will not be able to bring Kuban back, also because of geopolitical reasons. So while I stand firmly behind Kuban becoming independent if they want so, I also want the people of Kuban to understand that if they're fighting for independence of Kuban, that is something that they can achieve. If they're fighting with the idea that they are going to become a part of Ukraine, unfortunately, not in any near future. Not because we within the modern borders of Ukraine don't want it, but because Ukraine has large implications on doing that. We cannot find ourselves within a conflict with the Russian Federation. So what has been happening is first of all, if Kuban movements try to overturn the Russian government in Kuban, Ukraine cannot get in the middle of that because that'll cost us our European Union accession. 2, we don't have the resources. We simply don't have the resources. And yes, it is very unfortunate that Russia drew the borders that way and that a lot of Ukrainians ended up on the other side of the borderline. But we never, like, it's so much more complicated than just that. First of all, the people of Kuban, who are descendants of Zaporizhian Cossacks, were moved to Kuban from the Zaporizhian siege. So technically, Kuban is not even like originally a Ukrainian territory, which is why there are so many different nationalities and nations living there. But that's me digressing. Basically, all I was trying to say by that is that we wholeheartedly, within the modern borders of Ukraine, support Kuban's independence. We wholeheartedly consider Kuban Ukrainians just as Ukrainian as we are. However, now to the legality of the things is, unfortunately, in this day and time, in order for Kuban residents to be within the borders of Ukraine and to be under Ukrainian government and to be under Ukrainian legislation, they would have to move within the modern borders of Ukraine, which do not include Kuban. So that's all I meant by that. I did not mean that people need to, oh, if you want to be Ukrainian, just move. This is not what I was saying at all. I was just trying to explain a realistic expectation within a much larger explanation. And even if Kuban becomes an autonomous Republic Kuban or an independent People's Republic of Kuban, they will still have to be internationally recognized for Ukraine to even be able to come in and enter a negotiations process with them. Joseph says it would be the same as saying if you support Russia, stay in Russia, which they're going to make that happen soon or make it harder to obtain visas. Well, that's not what I'm saying. It's just that I'm saying that there are realistic things that can happen. Kuban can realistically become independent as a Republic of Kuban. However, realistically, Kuban cannot become a legal part of Ukraine within Ukrainian borders, under Ukrainian government, under Ukrainian legislation, because there is a lot to it. It's not just like, oh, Kuban overthrows the Russian government and we come in and take and draw the borders differently. That's not how it works. First of all, if Kuban movements were to overthrow the Russian government, then we can't even go anywhere near that, because the entirety of the world is going to treat it as the DNR and LNR situation, and the entirety of the world is going to look at it as Ukraine trying to gain territory. So we cannot be a party to a conflict like that while being an applicant to the European Union, because it's actually going to cost us it's going to cost us our independence, our European accession. And that's just not possible. That's just absolutely not possible. We just got that. We're not entering a party to a conflict with Russian Federation like that. You know, we're not going to put that at stake, first of all. Second of all, Ukraine does not have resources to sustain another territory. We need to rebuild Ukraine within the modern borders, and we genuinely just, our economy is in the garbage right now. We're at war. Our deficit is enormous. It's not, it doesn't work that way. And the reason why I said that is there was a point being brought up to not discourage, or to not discourage Kuban residents, and to not kind of kill their hope, right? But here is my stance on this. If I'm a resident of Kuban and I'm risking my life to fight for Kuban's independence, thinking that I'm going to become a Ukrainian citizen, and thinking that Kuban is going to be joined, Kuban has an opportunity of joining Ukraine, and Kuban has an opportunity of having like the same value of the passport as Ukrainians do, the same legislation, like the same European standards of living and stuff like that, then I'm risking my life for that. If I'm risking my life for that, fighting against the Russian government, and then I find out that actually the leadership of my movement was trying to make Kuban independent, then I end up in a pickle where I'm incredibly enraged and disappointed, because I'm all for people fighting for their rights, but I also want people to understand what their current realistic opportunities are, because it looks like there is leadership of Kuban movements that wants Kuban to be independent, and then there is a ton of Kuban residents who want Kuban to be a part of Ukraine, and it looks like the leadership is just kind of glossing over that to be like, oh yes, we need resistance, so let them just believe that this is possible. It is not possible. And here's what's going to happen if Kuban Ukrainians believe that Kuban can be legally a territory of Ukraine. when they become independent, and inevitably half of the world is not going to recognize them as an actual republic, because that's usually what happens when big geopolitical things happen, right? It's going to take time for the world to recognize them as a legitimate republic, right? Their passport is going to be valued at this. It's going to take years for that passport to have visa regimes, to have with the world, to have like just a lot of things, right? Because it's going to be its own entity. And so I just want the people who are fighting for it to understand and know what they're fighting for, because I don't see the point of lying to them. And I think it is a very big step. And if you are risking your life to take that step, which I fully support, because hey, Kuban shouldn't be a part of Russia. But if people are doing all of that with the hope that they're going to be legally joining the modern borders of Ukraine, then that is simply freaking wrong. Because that is impossible at this point in time for the next probably decade or two. So when something as big as this happens, you can't just gloss over it. People need to understand what it is that they're fighting for and fight for that. Because then, if they fight for being a part of Ukraine and their leadership actually was arranging everything for it to be independent and just using their kind of excitement and hope, then they're going to end up with a civil conflict, because these people are going to be really mad. With that said, Kuban Ukrainians will always be Ukrainian. They will always be Ukrainian. No one can take that away from them. They're just as Ukrainian as I am or any other Ukrainian. They have the same ancestry. And unfortunately, the only reason they're not a part of Ukrainian territory is because of Russia, because of how Russia drew the borders. But also, like, Kuban and Donshchina and a lot of other Cossack republics were republics. And Cossacks also were. It's a whole, you know what? It's such a complicated matter that it doesn't just come down to like, oh, we want to be a part of Ukraine, we're Ukrainian, or this is our like native land and stuff like that. There is so much to it. Point blank being, if you're Ukrainian, whether you're in Kuban, whether you're in Don, whether you're in Lviv, whether you're in Zaporizhia, whether you're in Germany, you're Ukrainian. The other question is whether legally your region will be able to be a part of Ukraine under our government and legislation. In that case, nothing that isn't the modern borders of Ukraine today is going to be able to become a part of Ukraine. And symbolically, I fully support Kubańca Ukraina. Like symbolically, I really do support that. And I do support, not symbolically, but really, every Kuban citizen who considers themselves Ukrainian, because they are. But legally, Kuban is not Ukraine. And legally, unfortunately, Kuban is not going to be able to become Ukraine. And I think that that is a very important matter to address, because there are big movements with big expectations arising. And while it's lovely and it's like, yay, like this is awesome, right? And a lot of people have a lot of feelings about it, especially Kubanians, right? Because it's exciting. It's exciting and it's awesome. It's their one chance since 1991 to be in Ukraine, but it's not a chance. there is still no chance to come back to those borders. There is still no chance to come back to the borders of 1919. So yeah, so it's just unfortunately not a realistic option. And I wanted to address that because apparently last time that I was speaking about it, the way it came off was if you want to be Ukrainian, just move to Ukraine. That's not what I meant. All I meant is that unfortunately, at this time and date, the only way for Kubanian Ukrainians to be under Ukrainian legislation and under Ukrainian government and territorially be a part of Ukraine is if they move to the current borders of Ukraine. That's all I was saying. Героям слава. Now, I hope that that explains a little more, because there was a very, very long conversation I was having with Theo about it, and I understand where Theo is coming from, and Theo understands where I'm coming from. I don't think that we can find a consensus because I think that we see it a little differently. And I fully understand that, like, I don't want Kuban Ukrainians to think that we, within the modern borders of Ukraine, consider them any less Ukrainian just because the borders were drawn this way by Russia. We don't. But at the same time, what we do understand is what's possible, something that's a desire and something that should have happened and should have been or should not have been, but is now. So within the current situation and the current climate, unfortunately, the only way for someone from Kuban to become legally Ukrainian as a citizen, as a resident, as a territorial part of Ukraine is by moving into the current borders of Ukraine. The other option is Kuban becomes independent, and Kuban is not a part of Russia, and Kuban is its own place, which is very, very likely. So there is that. Okay, Arvind on Twitch says, do you think there is any possibility for Ukrainians to fight back and get Ukraine anymore? I'm not really sure what you're asking. Are you asking if there is any possibility for Ukrainians to fight back and get any more territory? Or are you asking if there is any possibility that Ukraine can get the territory that Russia invaded back? I would need you to specify what you're asking because I'm not quite sure. Hi, Scooter. Their land back, yes, there is an enormous possibility of that. In fact, Ukraine is now launching a massive counteroffensive, and the reason why the news slowed down in the past couple of weeks is because Ukraine now is blowing up Russian bases, and Ukraine. First of all, Ukraine has been strategically winning this war for a very long time now. I don't know how caught up you are on Ukrainian news, but Ukraine has been winning. Ukraine has been launching a massive counteroffensive, and the entirety of the world does not believe that Russia is going to be succeeding. And by the entirety of the world, I mean governments and analysts and war analysts do not believe that Russia has any chance in hell of gaining that Ukrainian territory permanently. Those are temporarily occupied territories, and Ukraine is already taking most of them back. So yeah, it's not just a chance, it's a matter of time. Now, Nicole says, do the Kuban people speak Ukrainian or Russian? So that's a good question. So 20% of Kuban population speaks Ukrainian. Now, it is a very tricky thing because I've seen quite a few interviews with like older ladies from Kuban where they speak Ukrainian and they think they are speaking Russian. And the interesting thing is that they say that they would love to speak Ukrainian, but they just don't know it, and they've spoken Russian their whole life. Well, not the whole 20%, but a few. I will find you the source. I will find you the source. But a lot of the people who do speak Ukrainian in Kuban who are very old, they think that they're speaking Russian. So that's a very interesting phenomenon. They don't even know that they're speaking Ukrainian. But also, Kuban has been the territory of Russia since 1919. So it's not uncanny. That a lot of Kuban residents would not be speaking Ukrainian. Thank you, Tony. Also, Arvind here on Twitch is asking, why can't they settle things with a peace treaty? So if you'd like to have all of the answers to these questions that are quite inappropriate at this time after 6 months of the invasion, because a lot of Ukrainian creators, Zelensky, all of the Ukrainian politicians, and most people who talk about Ukraine, and most news channels had already covered this probably 5 months ago. But I have a TikTok channel, the same name as this Twitch, and there are a ton of educational videos on why that's impossible. It's impossible because in 1995, we had a treaty that guaranteed our territorial sovereignty, and Russia signed that treaty, yet they still invaded us in 2014, and they still invaded us in 2020. If Ukraine is going to sign a treaty with Russia, Russia is not going to withhold that treaty, and Russia is just going to take away their troops, regroup, and then take the entirety of Ukraine. Also, if we sign a peace treaty, that means that Ukraine stops fighting. That means that all of these territories that are under Russian control right now will stay under Russian control. And that means that the Ukrainians that live there are going to continue living in concentration camps that Russia had built for them in their own towns. If you don't know this, which I'm sure you don't, but in places like Mariupol and Kherson, Ukrainian people are living in concentration camps, infiltration concentration camps. There is no peace treaty that can be signed because those people are being abused and tortured solely for being Ukrainian. So no, Ukraine is not going to be signing a peace treaty. Russia has never, ever adhered to any document that they signed because they believe that they're above and beyond the international law. But again, here is the thing. I'm not trying to be mean, but it's genuinely been 6 months since the beginning of the invasion of Ukraine. Me and at least 20 other Ukrainian creators that I personally know have covered this a million times. This is the kind of question that I've been getting 5 months ago when people barely knew anything about Ukraine. At this point, I will say that if you'd like answers to questions that at this point are inappropriate to ask because of how many times they have been answered and how much information there is online, please go to my TikTok and watch my videos. Because at this point, it's like kind of a slap in the face to ask a Ukrainian person, why can't we settle things with a peace treaty? Because that means that everything I've been doing for the past 6 months, and everything that I've said for the past 6 months, and everything that I've been spending days on the internet talking about it has gone to waste because people still don't understand. So yeah. They can shove the peace treaty up their peach. Yes, I agreed. Okay, so let's see what's up in Ukraine today. A whole of 20 updates. Don't we like that? Oh, actually, well. Russian army launched a missile attack on a military airfield in the Zhytomyr region on Tuesday. Press service of the Air Command Center. Дякую, Mariana, or thank you, Mariana. Special forces soldiers free the Ukrainian land from the invaders. And here is the video of what that looks like. This is just like a feel-good video. Hello, Slava John. Also, Arvind, we do news about Ukraine every day on this channel live. So if you're interested in knowing what's happening in Ukraine today, then if you stick around, then this is what we talk about the whole time. I'm not trying to be rude or anything like that. It's just more of like what we do in these broadcasts every day is we read about the current events in Ukraine. What I have been talking about for the past 6 months is how did we get here, and explaining the history in depth and the geopolitics in depth and everything in depth. So you can find that easily on my TikTok. I have a ton of videos about it, and it's just at this point in time, I can't explain it with one sentence because there has been 6 months of explanations of that. And yeah. And if I explain it with TikTok is banned in my country. Well, I do have a ton of videos on YouTube as well, where if you watch my past news streams, I very often touch on a lot of subjects, and it will give you a very good idea of where Ukraine is at. And you can also find there is a Ukrainian history channel that explains to you how all of this happened and why Russia will never just let Ukraine be and why they want us so much. But here is, I'll show you. YouTube, is YouTube banned in your country? Shouldn't be, right? So there is this channel called Ukrainian Institute. It's actually in my beacons. So it's called Ukrainian Institute is the channel. And the video is called Ukraine History, Culture. I will show you. And it basically explains to you what Ukraine is and how it came to be.
This is also Ukraine. What if we told you that Ukraine has been an integral part and active participant in world history for millennia?
So it's called Ukraine History, Culture. I don't know what country TikTok is banned in. Which country are you in, Arvind? Oh, look at you. You're wearing a shirt. That is something so interesting. India.
France.
Yeah, so that's what I thought it could be. But TikTok is banned in India. And basically, you can look it up on YouTube. I'm trying to see if I could give you like the channel name. Yeah, here. This is it. Okay, Ukrainian Institute is the channel. And they have a lot of very, 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 very good videos explaining everything. Explaining how we got there, explaining what Russia wants from us, explaining why Russia is so concentrated on us, and it is what it is. Have you decided on a pin for your YouTube videos? What do you mean? What pin? What do you mean? What do you mean? Thank you, Bea. Hi, Bea. What pin? What are you talking about? Oh, yeah. For the thumbnail, yes, it's all new style thumbnails because I think that they look a little better in that way. Okay, so a young woman showed us what was left of her house after the arrival of the Russian world, the village of Bereznehovata, Mykolaiv region. Обережно ти зараз камеру. Куди ти йдеш?
Просто кудись не нема ніколи.
Та мені цікаво просто. Василь, ти знаєш, що кожного разу, коли я кудись йду, ти кажеш, о, а куди ти йдеш?
Я тобі кажу.
Ти не помічаєш. Я ж тобі не кажу, що мене батьки це не питаються.
Okay.
Yes, Vasil is wearing a whole shirt. A whole t-shirt. His Gen Z-edness is really funny to me because he's like, I'm just going, oh my gosh, my mom doesn't ask me so many questions. And I'm like, sir, I'm just asking you where you're going because I'm curious. Every time I leave the house, you ask me, oh, where are you going? You know? I will start saying things like, та блін, Василь, вона навіть мама таке не питає. Тато не питає. So basically for non-Ukrainian speakers, you know, I basically, anytime Vasil asks me like, oh, what are you going to do today? Well, Vasil, my mom doesn't ask me. My dad doesn't ask me these questions. Why are you asking me these questions? Oh my God. My God, Vasil, so intrusive. Jesus. What was that Ratusa in background of the video? What do you mean? Was that Ratusa? What is Ratusa? Hello. But yeah, basically, I am just going to be. Oh yeah. It was. Yes. No, Lusa. No. Sorry, it was Lusa. It's similar. It's Lusa. So similar to Ratusa, but Lusa. Hi, Mazzino. But yeah, basically, anytime Vasil asks me about where I'm going, I'm gonna be telling him that even my parents don't ask me this many questions. Jesus. Anyways, he's very mature. How's Ukraine doing today? Winning, yes. So this is a great cartoon, rather a great drawing of the sad reality of modern Russia. Anti-war movement, visa to Europe. So if you guys didn't know, since there has been talk of banning Russian visas, and now it's becoming more and more possible, Russians are now running to go get their visas and to GTFO to Europe because they're scared they're not going to be able to do that later. So yeah, that's fun. And yes, Ukraine is really winning, Mazzino, and Ukraine is really doing much better than we were, and Ukraine is destroying lots of Russian ammo depots, and the reason why the news slowed down is because there are less Russian strikes and less Russia in general in Ukraine, you know? We're doing much, much better. Also, guys, I have to show you this because I just looked straight and I saw Cine. So let me show you how adorable this is right now. First off, I'll show to YouTube and then I'll show to TikTok. Look at this funny thing. It's just the way that she's laying down is so funny. She's like fully sleeping with her paws out and stuff. And then let me show TikTok. Nicole on YouTube says, my brother was with me and says, can't they just explode the Kremlin? I said, it's not that simple. No, I have not seen the video of Russians protesting yet. What's your brother's name? Nicole, what's your brother's name? Cindy is an adorable little gremlin, yes. Also, hey guys, remember how we were talking about the advancement of modern technology in Russia, which is the Army 2022 forum that featured a robot dog named Fyodor, which was presented as an incredible innovation and a killing machine thanks to RPG on its back. Just found out this dog is for sale on AliExpress, where it costs up to $5,000. Okay, so first of all, see how it's covered in a flammable material? Also, like, I feel like my French bulldog is more capable than this robot dog. Yes, the dog is in pantyhose. It is creepy, but also like they keep saying that it's a Russian invention. You can buy it on AliExpress for $5,000. For $5,000 on AliExpress. It is not a Russian invention. Also, it's flammable. It's literally flammable. It's wearing pantyhose. I'm not even sure. Thank you, Kat. It's wearing pantyhose. Also, an average French bulldog in America is $5,000. Mine wasn't, brought her from Ukraine, not where I'm going with this, but an average French bulldog is $5,000. I'm sorry. But you want to tell me that a military killing machine costs about the same as my dog that you just saw? Cindy, get up. We're gonna go get you trained because, you know, for $5,000, apparently you're supposed to be a killing machine. And I'm pretty sure Cindy is less flammable than that. Joey. Well, Joey, we can't just strike at Kremlin because that will have international implications. And although I really do want to see Kremlin on fire, I even have a mug that shows it. Wait, one sec. Let me try and retrieve it. I even do have a mug that shows the beautiful reality of one day. Unfortunately, it is not anything that we could do in any near future because that would only make things more difficult for Ukraine. But see, Kremlin on fire. This is what dreams are made of. But anyways, also, yeah, that military dog. But so yeah, that military dog basically has a rocket launcher strapped to its back, and it's like, who is gonna launch the rockets from the rocket launcher? Also, as I said previously, that dog looks incredibly flammable. I feel like it would catch on fire from the rocket launcher on its back. Yeah, it is incredibly sad. So Gap is asking on YouTube, can Russian tourists buy sanctioned goods and take them back to Russia? If so, stop visas immediately and impound goods at the border. Yes, Russians can 100% do that, because also like during the Soviet Union, people would go to Europe and like smuggle things into Ukraine and Russia and sell it for much more money, basically, in the black market. So if they could do that then, they could do it now. About 100 Russian soldiers were liquidated in the temporarily occupied Lysychansk, Luhansk region. This was my favorite freaking thing. Lithuania will issue tourist visas to all Russians who can swim to our holiday resorts via this sea corridor, said Member of Parliament of Lithuania, Matas Maldeikis. This is like funny because technically, isn't this a planned drowning? But because of the way it's worded, no one can even prosecute anyone for this planned drowning, because if Russians are stupid enough to attempt it, you know, can you even blame them? And that's hundreds of miles. Although I do feel like some Russians are going to try. So let's stay tuned for the news. I feel like some Russians genuinely are going to attempt to do this. But yeah, good luck. You know, the Baltic Sea from St. Petersburg. It's quite a journey. Actually, I'm very curious how long that would be. Does Google Maps show you? You know what? Let's see. Which sea resort is that? So let's say to Klaipeda. Okay. Let's see how many. Let's say St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg. Okay, directions from Klaipeda. Yeah, and I would like to see it in terms of, are there no, oh, there are no boats. Oh my gosh, this is also so funny. So in order for you to get from St. Petersburg to Klaipeda currently, which is Lithuania, you would have to fly for 13 hours and 55 minutes, and there are no flights available. And just for the record, this is the distance between it, which is like, but because the sky is closed for Russians in all of these places, now it's like 14 hours. Oh gosh, this is like music to my ears and art to my eyes. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. As Russian cargo truck and APC were attacked by the Ukrainian drone right up to the moment when the truck was hit by a German DM-22 heat off-route mine hidden in the bushes. Valery Zaluzhny, commander-in-chief of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, says Russian troops continue to attack along the entire front line. At the same time, Russians shell the Ukrainian positions about 700 to 800 times a day, using from 40,000 to 60,000 rounds of ammo. Thank you, Yewleea. The Kremlin is friends with the Taliban terrorists. In its relations with the Taliban, the Putin regime traditionally plays a double game. Formally, it is recognized as a terrorist movement, but in fact, Moscow has close relations with the Taliban. Afghan delegations visit Moscow freely. The Talibs are ready to supply the Russian Federation with captured American weapons and send its fighters to the war against Ukraine. The Kremlin plans to supply Afghanistan with oil, grain, and sunflower oil. Moreover, part of the promised food may be stolen from the temporarily occupied territories of Ukraine. Maybe. President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky said that Europe might close its borders to all Russian citizens due to the threat of annexation of the temporarily occupied Kherson region. He said this in an interview with the Washington Post. I said from the very beginning that I believe that the most important sanctions are to close the borders because they are taking away someone else's territory. Well, let them live in their own world until they change their philosophy. So countries close to the borders and put an embargo on energy resources. My personal opinion is that everything else is weaker. There is no complete embargo on the energy supplies and the borders are not shut. The authorities urged residents of Enerhodar to evacuate due to Russia's shelling of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. The head of the Zaporizhzhia Regional Military Administration, Alexander Staruk, said that all civil defense agencies work in a limited mode. He reminded that Zaporizhzhia NPP is the largest nuclear power plant in Europe, and 1,200 tons of uranium is stored there. The armed forces of Ukraine control almost 50% of the Donetsk region. Head of the Regional Military Administration, Pavlo Kirilenko. 50% of the Donetsk region is controlled by the armed forces of Ukraine at this date and time. When one of the permanent members of the UN Security Council commits aggression on the territory of another UN member state and internal mechanisms were unable to respond to this due to the existing veto right, then such a situation is unacceptable, former UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. Ban Ki-moon expressed hope that the UN system will find an answer to the terrible situation of human rights violations and killings in Ukraine. A massive Russian offensive is underway in the Donbass. The military repelled attacks 3 times. On the 175th day of a full-scale war, Russian troops were advancing in the Kharkiv, Sloviansk, Donetsk, Bakhmut, and Zaporizhzhia directions. Still, the fighting continues. In the Donetsk direction, the invaders continue to concentrate their efforts on the Bakhmut and Novopavlivka directions. In the Kramatorsk and Avdiivka directions, the enemy is trying to improve the tactical positions of the troops. The invaders shelled another university in Mykolaiv, the Black Sea National University named after Petro Mohyla. This was announced by the mayor of the city, Alexander Sienkiewicz. 2 Russian missiles hit the university at night. At the time of the shelling, only a security guard was at the university. He was not injured. Houses opposite the establishment were damaged. Sienkiewicz recalled that just a few days ago, he published a video showing that there was no military base at the premises of the university. A discrepancy was found in the list of Ukrainian prisoners of war, wounded and killed during the terrorist attack in Olenivka, published by Russia. That is why representatives of the International Committee of the Red Cross, the UN, and representatives of Ukraine are not allowed in, said the representative of the Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine of Human Rights, Dmytro Lubinets, on the air of the national telethon. So there are errors in the names and numbers of the prisoners of war that were in Olenivka. The United States will contribute $68 million to the World Food Program to buy Ukrainian wheat to address the food crisis, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken tweeted. Thank you, the U.S. There is no indication that Ukrainian forces used U.S.-supplied weapons in the latest strikes in Crimea, and it is unlikely that they did, as the targets are far beyond the reach of U.S.-supplied systems. The Institute for the Study of War reports, citing the Pentagon. During the meeting of Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan with his Ukrainian counterpart Volodymyr Zelensky on August 18th in Lviv, aspects of Turkish-Ukrainian relations at the level of strategic partnership will be discussed, the Public Relations Office of the President of Turkey said. A trilateral meeting is also planned with the participation of UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres. During this meeting, steps will be discussed that can be taken to end the Russian-Ukrainian war through diplomacy and develop a mechanism created to export Ukrainian grain to the world markets. It's not going to be done through diplomacy. Russia is never going to leave us alone through diplomacy. We support any efforts aimed at ensuring the safety of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, including the withdrawal of Russian troops from the nuclear power plant and the creation of a demilitarized zone around the nuclear plant, said U.S. Representative to the UN, Linda Thomas-Greenfield. Hi, Poland. Nice to meet you. Ja jestem dobrze. Jak się masz? The Finnish Ministry of Foreign Affairs has decided to seek in Brussels the suspension of visa facilitation agreement between the EU and Russia. This will also mean an increase in the visa fee from 35 euros to 80 euros. So someone on Twitch is, Calypsia on Twitch is asking, new to your stream, what is your channel about? So I'm Ukrainian and I was born and raised in Lviv, Ukraine. My parents live, and my parents, grandparents, basically my entire immediate family still lives in Ukraine. I've been living in the US for the past 11 years. And when the invasion started, I started talking about how we got to the point where we are from the geopolitical and historical perspective and providing context to the events in Ukraine today. So basically that's what I do every day. I have a stream at 2 p.m. Eastern normally, but today was an exception because I have something to do at 3. And I do the news from Ukraine on a daily basis where I run down the summary of everything that happened that's relevant to Ukraine or in Ukraine. And then I also have a TikTok channel under the same name where I post about different topics that are pertaining to history and geopolitics and just like a more kind of a look at particular events rather than the whole picture, if that makes sense. But welcome, good to see you here. Thank you for stopping by. Hopefully you enjoy it, and hopefully if you didn't know a lot about Ukraine, you can know more. Yeah, thank you. Institute for the Study of War believes that the explosions at the Russian ammunition depot and transformer substation in the Zhankoy region of Crimea seriously disrupted the supply of the Russian army. Zhankoy was used by the occupiers as a railway junction for the transfer of troops and equipment to the occupied settlements in the south of the Zaporizhzhia region, including Melitopol. So basically, if you guys remember, this happened a couple of days ago where the Ukrainian military blew up temporarily occupied by Russia railway connection in Zhankoy in Crimea. And that was one of the kabooms in Crimea that Russians are not admitting to Ukrainians doing. They're saying that, it was just a fire. It just, I don't know, happened by itself. Something got on fire and it got destructive, which again, they're more willing to pretend like they are incompetent than they are to admit that Ukraine had destroyed something. But basically, they destroyed that, and turns out that even though we didn't realize it right away, it was a much bigger blow to the ammo than we thought, because it's one of the biggest junctions that supplies ammunition to Zaporizhzhia and Melitopol. So this is going to be a much bigger deal than anyone had thought it would be. It's going to be very detrimental to Russian ability to supply their troops in those regions. In the Donbass. In an interview with The Guardian, Mikhailo Podolyak, an advisor to the head of the presidential office, called the Crimean bridge connecting the temporarily occupied peninsula with Russia a legitimate military target. Well, we have been calling it a legitimate military target for a while now, for months now. But the thing is, the public doesn't know if we are able to strike at the bridge, because again, the US weapons that we have are obviously not long range enough to reach the Crimean bridge. But provided that we were able to strike at a Russian military base very deep into Crimea on August 9th, I feel like we do have the weapons. Maybe not from the US, but we have the weapons that might have been Ukrainian made, or the anti-ship missiles that might have been Ukrainian made. And we might have the weapons to strike it, because this is about the 6th time that I hear a Ukrainian official in the last week say that the Crimean Bridge is a legitimate military target. I feel like they would not be repeating this so many times on and on and on if we didn't have the ability and opportunity now to strike at the bridge. Because recall that a couple of months ago, when the world was asking about the Crimean Bridge and the destruction of the Crimean Bridge, our responses were like, well, yes, we would love to do that, but we can't. And no officials were just bringing it up by themselves. And now I keep hearing different Ukrainian officials just bringing it up and calling it a legitimate military target. So something had changed. This is the bridge, by the way. It connects Kerch with Russia. And if we blow up that bridge, Russia is not going to be able to supply ammunition to through Crimea from Russia, which is going to impede their progress. Progress. It's hard to call progress at this point, which is going to impede their defensive more than anything would. At night, the Russians attacked the Odessa region with Tu-22M3 strategic aircraft, which fired Kh-22 missiles. 5 civilians were wounded. The fire on an area of more than 600 square meters has already been localized. In the temporarily occupied Mariupol, the invaders decided to legalize the cars stolen from citizens, city council reports. Now in the city, it is allowed to put on a special account those cars which registration documents are lost, missing, or stolen in connection with the car. Thus, the occupiers and collaborators can now appropriate and, in fact, simply steal any car of the departed Mariupol residents. And surprisingly, some cars did survive. So, for instance, I think this Toyota Prius is something that they could still steal, and those cars over there. Which is crazy to me because they leveled the whole city to the ground. They leveled the whole city to the ground. They keep spreading cholera epidemic, or they keep letting the cholera epidemic spread. They keep letting dysentery spread. Yet, you know, they're interested in stealing Ukrainian cars. There will be no freeze on the war, but the situation can be cooled down to renew resources, said Reznikov, our defense minister. There may be a decrease in activity depending on what time of the year it is. Moreover, modern warfare is a war of resources. Resources, of course, are depleted on both sides, and accordingly, each side needs time to recover, the defense minister said. Reznikov noted that Russian troops had lost at least a third of their combat potential used in the invasion of Ukraine. Their resources are also being wasted, which means they will need some restoration. Therefore, let's say it is possible that the situation will cool down in terms of military clashes, which is also not good because that means that Russians will just take some time to regroup and then come back, which is not great. So that's the thing. I would say that, yes, the resources are depleting on both ends, but it is quite prudent for our allies to keep giving us weapons. So while Russia is regrouping and genuinely does not have any resources, we can regroup our resources and strike them while they're at their most vulnerable. As that way we could end the invasion sooner. Ukraine did not lose a single HIMARS missile system during the full-scale war with the Russian Federation. I can say with 100% responsibility that not a single HIMARS was lost. Therefore, when you read in the Russian media or social networks that a soldier, Ivanov, burst into it with a Kalashnikov assault rifle and saw a truck in which he destroyed 12 HIMARS with a Kalashnikov assault rifle at the same time, you can just laugh, twist it at your temple and say, well, such a propaganda system they have. This is nonsense, Reznikov said. Recall that yesterday, Sergei Shoigu said that the HIMARS system are destroyed heavily in battles. First of all, Russians do not have equipment to destroy HIMARS in Ukraine, and they also have no equipment to launch a defensive against HIMARS, because HIMARS is simply a superior weapon to Russians. And they don't have anything of Russian, fatherland-made weapons that could withstand HIMARS. According to public monitoring of Russian social networks and captured documents, the authors of the Killed in Ukraine project have identified exactly 1,000 Russian generals and officers killed by the defenders of Ukraine since February 24th. The data is incomplete because Russia hides losses. There are no lists, but it is important that the publicly available list of killed Russian commanders be named and verified. How it affected the Russian army, we will find out in the video. Oh, wait, 1 second. Sorry. I'm going to play you this video, but I'm going to put it because I have to mirror the screen as per usual. You guys know. Well, here is what I'm going to do, actually. I'm going to, if you're on YouTube or Twitch, you will be able to watch this video through. Come on, video. Okay, 1 sec. You will be able to watch this video full screen. Just give me a moment so I can send it to my computer. Hi, Kat. Hi, Kat. Good to see you. Okay. Now, with that said, I'm going to do this. Okay, do you guys, yes, I did start early, unfortunately, because I have, at 3 p.m., I have a call with my lawyer, and therefore I need to run earlier. Okay, so, guys, let me know if you can read it well on TikTok. And if you can, I'm going to start it both on TikTok and YouTube. Okay, remove. What is in the chat? Okay, mirror your screen back because you guys know I absolutely can't stand looking at myself from the weird angle. Wait, so confused. Oh man, okay, mirror the video. Okay. Great life in Russian. So will we hear more about how great life is in Russia? Hello, Yulia. Some good videos, though. Hello, good to see everyone. So hopefully that was informative. Australia terminated the lease agreement with the Russian Federation on the land on which the Russians plan to build a new embassy. In particular, Russia has 20 days to vacate the Yewleea site near the Australian Parliament. The National Capital Administration noted that the Russian Federation could not quickly complete the construction of the embassy. Therefore, following the use it or lose it policy, the land was taken away. The Russian Federation leased the site back in 2008, and in 2011, the Russians received a building permit. At the same time, the NCA notes that Russia promised to build a new diplomatic mission in 3 years. The aggressor country already has an embassy in the suburbs of Canberra. The results of HIMARS work on the location of Russian invaders in Novakhovka are reported. About 12 invaders are unalive. Thank you. The cup is indeed very cute. It says dog lover and it's from Pet Shop by Fringe Studio. It's a huge cup, if you can see. It's like basically the size of my head. I love it because this is about the gobbler of coffee I need. So if you guys are as crazy as I am and you like drinking coffee from literal gobblers, this is what you need. And for everyone, Juju included and Lauren, I think, who was asking for my earrings yesterday to be linked on Like to Know It, I will do that right after this stream, and I will also link the top. Destruction at the resort of Zatoka, Odessa region. After the hit of the occupiers' missiles, 7 recreation center buildings were destroyed and 15 cottage-type houses were damaged. Yeah, the mug is dishwasher safe. So yeah, so on TikTok, Message Alg is asking or is saying, I heard Ukrainian forces have their own rockets. With them, they attacked spots in Crimea. So actually, this is, we all hear that, but there is no, this is all just analysis and speculation. There is no confirmation of that. And we're most likely not going to get any confirmation for a while because this is a guessing game that the Ukrainian army strategically is making Putin play. Because basically what we are doing is like, do we have the weapons? Do we not? Did we get them from the US? Did we not? Are those the weapons we built ourselves? Did we not? So it's basically like a guessing game that Putin is being subjected to. In the near future, we can expect acute events at the front, said Andriy Lusov, spokesman for the main intelligence directorate. He recalled that the main intelligence directorate had previously stated that August and September will be extremely important months for the further development of hostilities on the entire front. In the near future, of course, there will be very acute events on all fronts, and it's not just about binding to some dates. There is a lot of talk about Independence Days these days, although this factor must be taken into account. The United States knew about Putin's impending invasion of Ukraine and spent months urging the Kremlin to abandon such plans. This follows from the materials of the investigation conducted by the Washington Post. The investigation says that in October 2022, an urgent meeting was held at the White House with the participation of President Biden and US military leaders and diplomatic missions. Officials told the president about Putin's plans to take over most of Ukraine, and he made the decision to send someone to Moscow to talk about the consequences of the invasion. This was followed by several meetings between high-ranking Russian and American officials in November, January. However, the Russian side, including Putin personally, reacted to the warnings, declaring the unacceptability of NATO expansion and the illegitimacy of the Ukrainian government. On February 11th, 2 weeks before the invasion, a meeting took place in Moscow between Shoigu and British Defense Minister Ben Wallace. According to WP, London wanted to once again try to resolve the conflict through diplomacy, but Russian colleagues did not want to discuss it. Wallace warned that Russia would face fierce resistance in Ukraine. I know Ukrainians. I have been to Ukraine 5 times, and they will fight. Shoigu reacted to the statement with the words, my mother is Ukrainian, it's all part of the country. Still, he was wrong. Bayraktar of flowers was created in Kyiv for the Independence Day. More than 24,000 plants were used for the composition. This is what that looks like. Yeah, it is a replacement mug for the one that Vasil broke. Yep, this is the same mug. See, he broke my mug and I can never find anything this big. Do you see how big this mug is? You know. Reznikov announced a new package of military aid from the United States. Alexei Reznikov had a telephone conversation, thank you, Karine, with U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin. We discussed the current security situation, new needs in the battlefield, and ways to strengthen the capabilities of the Ukrainian army. Additional assistance from the United States will come in the near future, the head of the Ukrainian Defense Ministry said. Thank you. I actually really like those butterflies. They're very cute. 27 residential buildings, the main building of the university, and the car park were destroyed by a nighttime rocket attack in Mykolaiv. City Mayor Alexander Sienkiewicz. Hi, Героям Slava. Героям Slava, Uros. Maintenance crews are working in the field. They're restoring all communications. Municipal utility workers are removing the consequences of shelling from public places. As reported, 6 rocket attacks were fired at Mykolaiv last night. The base of the Russian invaders destroyed by the armed forces of Ukraine in the temporarily seized Novakhovka, Kherson region. This is the base that 100 Russian occupiers died on. Oh yeah, Grumpy, I have a lot of Trump supporters in that video too. Novakhovka, yes. Russian invaders strike such military facilities the moment a missile hit a children's playground in Kharkiv yesterday. Yep, military facilities that Russians hit. A children's playground in Kharkiv. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has arrived in Lviv. His office reports he's scheduled to meet with Zelensky and Erdogan tomorrow regarding the situation at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant and Russian aggression in Ukraine. China will send troops to Russia for training, Ministry of National Defense of the People's Republic of China. From August 30th to September 5th. Ukrainian boxer Alexander Usyk appeared at a press conference before the fight with British boxer Anthony Joshua in the Cossack image, with the oseledets, traditional hairstyle of Ukrainian Cossacks, and in a vyshivanka. The boxer sang "Oi u luzi chervona kalina" after the press conference. The second fight between Usyk and Joshua will take place on August 20th in Saudi Arabia. Okay, well, I think this is idiocy, but you know. Yeah, this is exactly correct. I mean, I'm not a fan of Alexander Usyk. I think he is, I have my own personal problems with him. I think he's crazy. He is a very good boxer, but he's insane. And also, I think this is like such a chauvinistic thing to do. Like, why are you appearing in the Cossack uniform? Why did you draw an oseledets on your head? And why do you look like that? Like, it looks stupid, you know? It kind of makes it look like a joke. Yeah, it makes him look like an actual joke. The State Emergency Service of Ukraine published the consequences of the strike on the recreation center in Zatoka, Odessa region. Hmm. 54 million from the Aid for Ukraine crypto fund is used to help the armed forces of Ukraine. Digital and cyber resistance. Mikhailo Fedorov, Minister of Digital Transformation of Ukraine. We bought more than 8,000 body armor and 4,000 helmets with these funds, 80,000 pieces of military clothing, 400,000 dry rations, more than 5,000 digital sites and night optics, 30,000 military first aid kits, more than 100,000 medicine and protective equipment, nearly 1,000 units of communication devices, and more than 200 drones, 35 tons of fuel, and 100 vehicles that help to increase military mobility, maneuver behind enemy lines, and get wounded fighters off the field, the minister wrote. Which is incredible. Putin still wants to take over most of Ukraine and change power in Kyiv, but is trying to distort his true goals. Institute for the Study of War. Russian troops carried out ground attacks across the eastern axis, but failed to advance northwest of Slavyansk and east of Seversk. Russian forces begin offensive operations around Bakhmut, southeast of Avdiivka, and southwest of Donetsk. Russian troops conducted unsuccessful offensive operations in the north and northwest of the Kherson region. The Russian Defense Ministry said that the Ukrainian forces in Nikopol are preparing for provocations at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Thus, Russia is preparing provocations at the ZNPP. It is reported that Chechen units are being redeployed to the Kherson region to detain Russian military deserters. Russian forces are having a hard time recruiting soldiers even for safe and prestigious positions. This is all I have for today. In terms of news about Ukraine. So, I do have a call with my lawyer in about 30 minutes. So I would like, if possible, to prepare for it now because I have a bunch of questions that I want to ask and I want to put them together. So yeah. You guys, I will see you later today. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to the news about Ukraine. Thank you for caring. Thank you for subscribing if you're new. And that's to Calypsia predominantly. If you're still here, thank you for subscribing and thank you for finding me and thank you for giving news about Ukraine a chance. And I will see you guys later today.